Hi everyone. Thanks for joining in this call today. I know no one wants to join and take up one more webinar, but I never thought I would do a webinar on a topic like this. But here we are. I'd be really glad if you stay tuned until the end. Also note your queries and questions if you wish to ask at the end of the webinar. I'll try to address each one of them. So, what's the topic we are going to talk on today? It is the psychological impact of COVID-19 on employees and other people around. In any crisis, psychologists tell you to socialize and not to isolate yourself. I feel really lucky and I'm proud of my decision of pursuing psychology because it's really the need of an hour. We are certainly not alone in this. We are all in this together and we will surely get through this. So I would like to talk on today's stressors, which are very familiar and acquainted. Each and everyone is concerned about their economic safety and immunity in this pandemic life. Life is so uncertain right now. But what really is uncertainty? Uncertainty is you don't know how the world will look like tomorrow. You don't know what's next. You don't know what news will you wake up to next morning. Current stress is about our need of safety and belongingness. Let's look at Maslow's hierarchy, which actually have 5 stages, which are self-actualization, esteem needs, belonging needs, safety needs, and physiological needs. Physiological needs are most essential things a person needs to survive, including need of shelter, food, warmth of loved ones, rest, and health. A person's motivation at this level derives from their instinct to survive. Safety and belonging needs are not satisfied. If they are not satisfied, we won't move upwards in the hierarchy. In this pandemic, we don't meet people. There are no non-verbal cues to identify their behavior, to notice their facial expressions, to have a one-to-one talk with them. So it's really difficult to make people believe that they really belong to us. After all, humans are social beings. We need to be feel loved. We need to be assured that we really belong. We are loved, but right now we got no other option. So what are uncertainty and their effects? It leads to anger, anxiety, and all of that which are negative emotions. Stressors are not same for everyone. Each individual reacts differently to the stressors. But all this leads to unproductive behavior, diminished reasoning, biases, and prejudices. Stress is very cumulative. For example, if a stress is lasting, it will make you feel vulnerable. Like if you're suffering from a stress since childhood, the new stressor for you will be extremely deliberating. But what are the factors predisposing to stress? It's the nature of stressor, a person's perception towards it, and stress tolerance. What are the effects of stressors? Poor concentration, having difficulty quietening the mind, low energy, forgetfulness, excessive worry, disturbed sleep, muscle tension, irritability, and many more like this. If a person carries emotional baggage all the time, both physical and mental health is affected. You really need to check on the people who are stemming from the feeling of unproductiveness, who lacks motivation. So there's a quote by Patterson which says, control appears to moderate the effects of stress by allowing the person to alter the stress response directly or to select response that will avert or alter the threatened event. So there are 3 ways from which we can build stress: biological, psychological, and socio-cultural. There should always be a conscious effort to beat stress. The minute our brain senses the stress, It starts placing defense in places of our brain. So this happens at three interactional levels. At the biological level, body is building immunity system. Psychological and interpersonal levels, we look at new coping mechanisms, new strategies, seeking love and support from our dear ones. Social cultural level, we look on how we fall back on our community, religious organizations for support. We know to deal with stress in two different ways: task-oriented response and defense-oriented mechanism. In task-oriented response, one focuses on the tasks, understand what the problem is, what's the cause of the problem, and find solutions and alternatives to it. But in defense-oriented mechanism, a person responds negatively to the situation. He is in denial, goes through repetitive talking, crying, and everything negative. This is not a great way to deal with stress, but it is a great tool to repair the psychological damage. This happens at unconscious level. Body and minds do this automatically to deal with uncertainty. A conscious effort needs to be made, and that can be made in a specific ways. Evidence says that feeling in control of a situation is best coping strategy. So, what are coping strategies? At professional and personal level, it is divided into two sections. Primary is choice and control, and the other way is social support, care, and commitment. In choice and control, one should guard against the micromanagement, incorporate more autonomy and fluidity into every role. Say no to transactional work. Be human. In fact, one should understand an employee or a colleague what he or she is going through. It helps build trust and a good and healthy work environment. One should keep personal and professional life separate. In social support, care, and commitment, it includes spending quality time with friends and family, social community services, care for another, exploring more dimension of self-learning exercises. So having friends and family and having loved ones who really cares for you goes a long way for you building a physical and mental well-being. What's really something that I'd like to address is the fear or the question that is blooming on all of our heads right now. What if I lose my job tomorrow? What about the money I make today? What if I go off track from my career? And so many questions like this. This is the time why you need to explore other dimensions of self and know your worth. Exercising is also a jovial way. So what are all the steps that you can take? Take a quick check on your own levels of stress. Acknowledgement of stress helps relieve it too. Practice mindfulness. Do yoga, do exercises, do anything that calms your mind. Do not read or talk too much about the crisis. It can dampen your spirits. Even if you want to heal, and if you keep talking about the same things, you won't ever heal from that. Be a human. Replenish stress-fighting energies by unwinding, exercising, laughing, spending time with family, watch your favorite series, treat your taste buds. What is post-crisis? There has always been a lingering effects of post-crisis. For example, if you survived an air crash, you won't like to fly again. But that's not how life is. You should always wait and see what's in store. As the line says, the resilient is the fittest. So yeah, that's 2 cents from me. Stay happy, stay safe. Thank you for joining this webinar.